Hey Brendan, how's it going? Two comments. One, at last we have a picture of you on AM when we can see what you really look like. No, it's a joke, I've seen you before. It's fine. And the other thing that's amusing as well is, we love the violence. We always do. It's a load of fun. I think that one of the things that you can do here, which is really cool, is that I love the scene, I love the setup. Staging is a little bit orthographic right now. Not necessarily because, you haven't got a background, but, everything's kind of like very much in computer space right now, but it's great because it's actually working. The body mechanics are fairly solid, except that there's a bit of sliding actually at the beginning of the actual scene, and there's a little bit too much overlap at the end with the guy who dies. Now, things that jump out at me straight away, going on frame by frame, is, for example, when he's lifting his weight on frame 34, that feels really floaty. And actually, when you're kind of like on the ground and you're kind of like shifting forward, you're really kind of like shifting your body a lot, because what you're doing is that you're actually pushing all of your body onto one leg so that you can stretch the other leg over. So it's almost like having a fat person walking, where the feet are on the ground for a long time and then there's just 1, 2, 1, 2. Those kind of like passes are really, 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 really short. So that's kind of like the mentality that you want to keep here. Very low center of gravity, very much like a fat person. You're rolling your weight over as you walk, and your other leg will just cross over very quickly to try and catch that weight to keep propelling you forward. So pretty much, you want him at frame 34, instead of going up, you want him to roll forward a little bit and keep that leg really has to feel like all of his weight is completely on top of that leg, and he feels in balance as well. So when he comes over, he's going to have a nice catch over here. Look out for silhouette as well. Another thing that happens is that his head is at the same angle all the time as he's going towards this guy. When as he goes towards him, there'd be a natural tendency just to look a little bit further up, either with the eyes or with the head as well, because he's kind of like keeping his eye on his target as this comes up just a little bit with the head and the eye line. So when he gets ready over here and he takes the knife out of his mouth, I'd say do that gesture a little bit sooner. So almost hold the pose that you've got on frame 84 and just keep him there and make him do that one thing. It'll make it much more dramatic, that he's kind of like, he's concentrating instead of trying to readjust his pose all the way. So very much, whether he's in, frame 84 or you want to make him get to the pose that he's got on frame 98, choose one of those settling poses. He wouldn't go ahead, and take the knife out until he's 100% ready that that's the position that he needs to be in. Again, kind of like makes him a bit more cold-blooded as well. And then on frame 105, really play with the silhouette of that knife, and the hand, keep that a bit more separate than the body. It's not realistic, it's dramatic, but it kind of like, gives us an expectation as an audience as what it is he's going to do. Another thing that you can do as well, just before he goes up, is to breathe in. So it's kind of like he's checking, he flips his knife, and then goes in, so he basically breathes in, gets as much oxygen into his body as possible, gets ready, bang, and then goes in, having, everything contained in his chest all at once. And then when he comes up, it's this thing about sequencing here, again, kind of like being visually clear that things do not happen at the same time, very much like overlap. So it's very much the first thing he's going to do is reach up, and as far as you've got in your blocking, hand comes in first, pushes back so that the guy's weight actually topples back, and he's using two movements there, really. One which is guy loses balance, starts falling backwards, knife comes up in opposite direction. Very, very, very strong, moment there where, he's using both the body's weight coming down and the knife going into the back at the same time to feel even stronger. So those are two things that you want to break up. So hand pushes guy back, guy loses balance, knife goes in last. Because currently it's happening almost at the same time. There's a few frames of difference, but you want to space those things out just a little bit. So it's kind of like a quick beat of 1, 2, 3. Hand, body, bang, knife. Okay, when he gets in there, the other thing that happens as well is that currently the gun bounces out of his hands like that. It's like, whoa, and it falls over. Let it just drop, you know. So it's like if he's holding that there, bonk, you know, it just drops. It doesn't fling it forward, and it doesn't bounce on a very nice arc. It's almost like rolling a ball off the edge of a table. It would go like that. You know, there's still the parabola motion of it going down, but it doesn't bounce off like that, okay? The other thing as well is, again, you know, keep him there, nice expression of him kind of like grabbing there, and again, you know, keep the tension in the character with the knife until he knows that it's been done. You know, until the job's done and, you know, he's killed, you know, the guard, he wouldn't relax, which is the thing. So you've got a take here where he kind of like gets a little bit depressed, you know, and he gives another kind of like second stab in frame 231. Keep him in tension there. It's along the lines of he has him grabbed there, and it's 1, 2. Now we relax, okay? So only, you know, that realization of, you know, him kind of like, okay, killed somebody, job's done, it's a nasty piece of the business, but we have to do it, okay? That only comes in after the job's done. Again, it's kind of like being that build-up of adrenaline, you know, and kind of like being in a position where it's like, gotta go in, gotta do this, bah, 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 bah. It's the same thing as what I was explaining before about the breathing. It's about, it's tension that's in the body, you know, and he's holding it, he's holding it, he's holding it. When the guy's arms drop and we feel the weight go, then, you know, he can relax, and at the same time let the body slide off him at that point as well. Because currently, even though the guy's kind of like dead, the only thing that's floppy about him is his arms. His arms are flopping around like this. The same thing would happen with his feet. All of a sudden the body loses complete control of holding its own weight, and it stops being, you know, it's almost like, you know, all of a sudden his body will tend to go down. So the guy who's holding him actually has to come in and hold more of the weight. So actually, to enhance this a little bit more, the thing you can do is that he gets killed there at frame 189. The body then starts going down. He gives his second stab, and as he goes down, lean the body more towards the other guy because he's catching that weight on him. It's almost like he has to bring the weight further towards him, arcing his back to keep everything in balance, like that. Okay? And then the body starts dragging down. There'll just come a point where he has to let go, and that's one of the things that you want to do. So it's a roll back while he's still killing, and then the body has to slump down at the end over there. So that would be kind of like the last thing that would happen, because right now he's way too rigid. He feels weightless at that point. Keep that idea in mind. You know, you're playing with somebody who's around 80 kilos, no clue of what that is in stone, but, you know, he's a grown human being. That's a lot of weight. We can barely lift ourselves up sometimes in the morning. Can't lift twice your weight all the time, so keep that in mind that he's going to drop him at some point. But it's looking great, man. You know, it's good to see, you know, some nice, you know, different stuff at AM as well, you know, and I don't really have a problem with this, you know, at all, because it's like, although it's violent and it's explicit, there's no blood, there's no gore, it's, you know, if you do it realistically, I think that, you know, it's got as much merit, you know, as everything else. And besides, it's an employable technique. We have to be able to do everything. So one day when they ask you to do the tango, I think that is probably more cruel than actually doing this right now. But anyway, man, it's been great having a look at your work. Have a great weekend, and, you know, looking forward to see some more stuff. Take care. Bye.